Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your brother Nafis Abu Zayd, and this is our beloved brother here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Isa Abu Isa.
Inshallah ta'ala, we are together here at the Free Public Islamic Library, which is known as Maktabat Ibn Taymiyyah, the first of its kind, located at 3095 Kensington, Philadelphia area, by the permission of Allah. Today, inshallah ta'ala, as you've seen from the title, we will try to address using the speech of one of the present day scholars who is an active caller to Allah Jalla wa Ala, and he's known to the brothers specifically in Egypt and abroad by the mission of Allah Jalla wa Ala that he have gave advice towards the du'at in the West. We will use his speech as a skeleton. However, before going into reading his speech, we would like to mention some certain things, inshallah ta'ala, especially the fitnah that we find ourselves in, especially here in the city of Philadelphia. And that fitnah, no doubt, is the separation or the call of the separation between those who affiliate themselves or try themselves to this blessed minhaj and this blessed dawah, which is first and foremost the kitab wa sunnah ala fahm salaf salih. We want to open up with the statement of one of our elders, rahimahullah, who is well known and is adhering to the Quran and the Sunnah upon the Fahm Salaf. He made a statement in a lecture that he gave that was in Germantown. And I want us to analyze this statement before going into anything else by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and see that much hasn't changed since he gave this statement. And the title of this particular talk that he was given was dealing with the hubb al-riyasa, the love of leadership or the love of fame or wanting status. This particular person, rahimahullah, I will mention his name after the quote the statement. He said that, I say that I'm upon kitab wa sunnah, you say that you're upon kitab wa sunnah, meaning the Quran and the Sunnah. I say that I'm upon kitab wa sunnah ala fahm salaf, and you say you're upon the kitab wa sunnah ala fahm salaf, meaning I say that I am upon the Quran and the Sunnah upon the understanding of our pious predecessors, and you say you are upon the Quran and the Sunnah upon the understanding of our prior predecessors. I say that I take from all of Salafi Mashaykhs, meaning I take from Shaykh Fawzan, you say you take from Shaykh Fawzan. I say I take from Shaykh Rabi', you say you take from Shaykh Rabi'. Ish hada. Then what is the problem? He said, then what is this? What is the problem? The person who said this was Abu Uwais, rahimahullah. He mentioned this statement, and it's a profound statement because if you analyze it, this is what's going on. We have many masajid here in the city of Philadelphia that all call to the same thing. They all use, if not, the same books and the same explanations of the same particular mashaykhs. Yet and still, you find that they are divided. Yet and still, you find that they are separated. Yet and still, you find that they are differing. Yet and still, you find that they are what? Calling away from one another. So the name of this title is the difference between calling to Allah or calling to oneself. We will analyze that. The brother Isa Abu Isa will begin reading some of the statements of the Shaykh by mentioning who the Shaykh is and going into a little bit of his article, and we'll just start talking about certain things. Inshallah.
Before I begin though, just to support what our brother Nafis has said, may Allah preserve him, is that one of the main reasons we can't unite is because if a person is upon what we call hizbi or partisanship, meaning that your allegiance to someone, a person, place, or a thing other than kitab or sunnah. This is why no matter what everyone is calling to the same scholars, to the same books, to the same dawah, to the same blessed manhaj, if there's people amongst you that are uniting and what they unite upon is other than kitab or sunnah, then it doesn't matter if they call it the kitab or sunnah, because they're uniting upon other than what they're calling to, upon a person, place, or a thing. And once that happens, it leaves being Salafiyah and it goes into being his being. And that's just to support what our brother has said. And the Shaykh Abu Abdurrahman Abu A'la, he's an Egyptian scholar. He has a beautiful book that I've read before. It was called The Khawarij. And he wrote a book about dealing with the different groups of the Khawarij, how they spread out from the Muslim Brotherhood and like that. It's one of the books that the Shaykh wrote. And he has a school in a place called Hilwan in Egypt. and Sheikh Ruslan, Sheikh Hassan al-Banna, all praise him. He's well known in Egypt to be a caller to ad-da'wah to Salafiyya, the manhaj, the blessed manhaj. And we're going to begin, and he says, in the name of Allah, may Allah raise the rank and grant peace upon the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions, and those who follow him in guidance. As to what proceeds. Indeed, the call of the Prophet ﷺ was an apparent, clear, and pure call with no ambiguities, nor any inconspicuous.
Suspiciousness.
Yeah, conspicuousness. Just as the meaning of what Allah said in the Quran, it is He who has sent His messenger with guidance in the religion of truth to make it superior of all religions, even though the polytheists hate it. Surah At-Tawbah, verse 33. And the Shaykh, he said, as opposed to the call of the people of falsehood from the people of desires, Ahlul Bid'ah, the people of innovation, whose calls are comprised of ambiguities and indiscernibility, and at times comprised of lies, deception, and hypocrisy. Now, what do you think from that statement that the Shaykh is going with this?
First and foremost, the Shaykh is highlighting and pointing out and alluding to the fact that no one would disagree that all of us affirm that we follow the Book of Allah, and we all agree that Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the Arab messenger who was born 570 AD, is the last and final messenger, and that his sunnah is to be followed according to the understanding of the Salaf. That is clear. That is crystal clear. There is no hidden meanings. There's no confusion with that. But as the Shaykh goes on to explain, it's not from the way of the people of the Sunnah, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, to what? To hide, to make things seem confusing, to make things seem hidden or ambiguities. It's not. It's for us to be clear, open, because he say the people of bid'ah, the people of innovation, and this is a whole nother affair that we don't want to get into right now, but the people of innovation, truly innovation, those who call to the innovation, open opposer to the Sunnah, because every person that falls into an act of innovation is an opposer of the Sunnah. All right. However, he's saying that their way is to hide behind slogans, terminologies, things that are confusing, things that aren't clear, that's not explicit clear. That is not the same way with the Quran and the Sunnah.
Now, I like to say, oh, well, he's Salafi, but, or to say, he need to clarify some things, or he's not clear. But what's the issue? And the issue is never said. So this is the way of Ahlul Bid'ah, not Ahlul Sunnah.
And the Shaykh is going to mention that the concept of saying someone have issues that need to be rectified. He's Salafi, but he has issues to be rectified. As it was said by one individual who said that, yeah, he's Salafi, but he have issues to be rectified. And in the actual article itself, it talks about one of our Salafi brothers that say that, no, he has some things that he have to rectify first before, without clarifying what are those particular issues. Are those issues Aqidah issues? Are they i'tiqad? Do they fall under the belief, Aqadiyya? Is those things minhaj issues? Are they personal issues? Are they issues where as though they borderline innovation? Are they innovation bi'ayniyya? Are they truly innovation? Is the person aware of this innovation? Is the innovation bid'ah mukaffara? Do it take a person out of the fold of Islam? If you fall into that, all of these things need to be clarified. You need to clarify these matters. And the Shaykh going to bring the athar, the narration that help elucidate this point by the permission of Allah.
And the Shaykh, he goes on and he says, Abu Uthman, yes, may Allah preserve our scholars, Ameen, said this is why from amongst the traits of the saved sect and the victorious group is the display of truth and its clarity, because they are undoubtedly the inheritors of the prophets. In addition, they do not have secret organizations, nor affairs which they conceal, and with such separate themselves from the common people regarding issues of creed or the methodology. You can't get any more clear than that.
They're not elite.
No.
In other words, they're not elite. They're not Hollywood status. They're not, we a group of individuals, we take our coffee, we go to Starbucks, or we go behind our offices and our desks, and we discuss matters and talk about this individual or that da'i or that caller or this particular person. No, we don't do that. We don't separate ourselves from the common folks in that manner. Yes, it's from the talib al-ilm to not mix with the people. And the ulama explains that, if you want to refer back to the explanation of Shaykh Uthmaan, explaining the book of Hilat al-Talib al-Ilm, and why not to mix with the common people, but not in the sense like the Shaykh saying. No, we are people of the truth, meaning the scholars first and foremost, those who understand the truth, and how to ascertain the truth and to extract the truth and how to properly implement that truth. They're the first and foremost, not the tulab or ilm. The tulab or ilm come second, then come the commoners. So we the people that make things clear. We don't hide things, as Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned in the Quran. Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, all praise belong to Him who have revealed upon His servant the book. And what did He mention? That book have no what? No iwaja.
No.
That book have no crookedness. No crookedness whatsoever. It's clear. You don't have to. No, it's clear.
No. And he says another point, like secret organizations. We don't have secret nivam where there's a captain and a president and then there's foot soldiers and we don't have those type of things in this. We don't have a pyramid scheme in Salafiyah as the Muslim Brotherhood has, or the Khawarij or ISIS or we don't have these things in the Sunnah where there's a captain, or like in Christianity the Pope, then the cardinals, and we don't have these type of elite pyramid schemes. We don't have secret organizations where there's somebody at the top giving orders to everybody else. In Islam, there's a leader of a country, there's the people of the country, there's the wuzara, and all this stuff is clear and open. There's no secret background things, and it shouldn't be like that in the masajid. There shouldn't be an elite group of people running the masajid and running the affairs of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and it's only for them. And he says, likewise, from the manifest signs of the people of the Sunnah is that they do not secretly conceal certain affairs between them and issue secret rulings upon so-and-so, as is the state of the groups of the people of Bid'ah. In fact, the Salafi brothers in Singapore announced a lecture of mine to be conducted via telephone. This is the Shaykh Abu Uthmaan, concerning the rulings of the month of Ramadan, which was in coordination with website Salafi events, not to be confused with Salafi events in the UK. However, I was surprised to find out later that they, without consulting me, concealed the lecture for the following reasons. They said, we have received advice by the brothers. It's always the brothers. As if this is from, we don't even take narrations like this. We don't take hadith like this. The brother said about this brother. Who's the brothers? What's his adl, his dabt? Is this person religious, upright? Does he have a strong memory? Is he thiqah, trustworthy? To just take his narration, the brother said. And he's rectified, he said the brothers in the du'ats, that they, the Salafi events, the one that the brother the Sheikh did the lecture with, need to rectify their situation. And that they, the du'ats, the callers, have advised that no one should work with them, Salafi events, until further rectification.
There's something that we need to understand. The Sheikh is saying that first and foremost, look at that. The du'ats, the brothers, the callers are telling people not to work with this individual, work with that individual. They have to rectify. First and foremost, we have to understand that order and telling people who and who not to deal with and that, all of that stuff falls under the haqq of Allah, haqq of Rasul. That's number one. You have to understand that falls under Allah and His Messenger. Then those who are inheritors of the prophets, meaning the ulama, those who are qualified and equipped to deal with such issues, from the major scholars, first and foremost. And you don't even see them speaking like this. You don't even see them talking like this in this manner. And yet and still, as our brother brought a point out, he said that you will find that many people, and Shaykh Al-Albani actually before that actually mentioned this, that you'll find individuals who have not studied one thing from any science. From any science. He's not even proficient in tajweed and reading the Quran properly. Yet and still he would debate with you on scholarly issues. Or he would issue fatwas. Right? He would issue fatwas. So-and-so, a ruling that so-and-so is to be abandoned. He's to be matruk. He's to be left off. He's need to be stayed away from. He have to rectify this affair. He have to rectify this matter. And this is something that we are going through right now in this city. This is something I myself and Brother Isa Abu Isa is going through. It's something that other brothers that we know and amongst ourselves are going through. Don't deal with so-and-so. We here at Maktab Ibn Taymiyyah, I found that it's really amazing, Brother Isa. Truly amazing. And it hurts my heart that we living in a time where the first public Islamic library, regardless of what masjid, regardless of anything, the first public Islamic library, let's say that again, first public Islamic library that's in the city of Philadelphia, that no doubt is the first of its kind, yet and still we find people staying away from it. We find the people not at the very least giving it a glimpse. So you witness yourself.
No.
Kuffar would come in.
No.
People that are non-believers.
Yeah.
And they would see and hear that there's a library, a free public Islamic library. And they would be more excited.
Yeah, they were.
They would show the excitement on their face and more eager for it than our brothers and sisters who are, at least, at the very least, are Muslim.
Had a non-Muslim come take a picture of it. Just
Come
so
take
we
a
can
picture.
say, look. So we can say, look.
Actually blog about it. Post it. How many of the Muslims are aiding in that endeavor? Now, let's take it another step further. How much more so, not just Muslims, but the people who ascribe and adhere and claim to ascribe and adhere themselves to Salafiyah. This mektaba, by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, is a mektaba that what? Propagates the correct Aqidah, the correct minhaj, methodology. Yet and still, with all that being said, we find people boycotting.
Yeah. This mektaba calls to worshiping Allah alone by His permission. We call to hearing and obeying the Muslim authorities, not making revolution against them, and we call against bid'ah and his people.
Meaning the mektaba is a place of ilm, a sacred place. There is also something you need to understand. Shaykh Al-Albani, rahimahullah, when they did an interview with him and they asked him about his time in Medina, he mentioned a very important point. He said that when I was in Medina, I would see that the teachers, they would sit in their quarters when lunchtime come, and they would go eat in their specific quarters. And the students, they would eat in their quarters, in the courtyard. He said, so what I would do is take my food, and I would go sit out there with the students, right? I wouldn't sit with the teachers. And some of the teachers didn't like this. I would sit with the students, and I would sit around the students, and the students would gather around me. And we would take benefit, and they would benefit from me. What this shows us, and what I took from that, is that the same thing with the concept of libraries, with books. The same thing I took from that. If you do not, if the student of knowledge, meaning if the scholar doesn't bring himself forward to be around in that environment, mixing with the people, how are they going to be an example for them? If they be elite, are we going to be locked off?
Nah.
And most of the libraries that we've seen in the city, there's no pop shots against nobody. Most of the libraries are where?
Locked away.
Locked away with people who got special keys to them. Not even open to the people. When Shaykh Al-Albani passed away, he donated his books to where?
Yeah, to the public.
Huh? To Medina.
Yep, to the public, yeah.
Sheikh Rabia right now. We all quote Sheikh Rabia, right? We all like to quote him when we want to rut someone out and refute someone. May Allah preserve the Sheikh. The Sheikh right now, his library is open to the public. Open to the public. Many people have libraries, the scholars, even in what? Egypt.
Yep. Sheikh Mahmoud Amr is open to the public. You can just walk
It's
in.
open to the public.
Right into the library.
Yet and still, this type of understanding is not understood here. That the library should not be locked away. That the library should not be what?
Locked away.
Locked up. The knowledge should not be sacred. Arabic should be what? Widespread. Sheikh Fallah, when he came here, Hafidhullah, he mentioned 2 points. He said you are lazy people, and what else? You are mutaqasirun.
Mutaqasirun.
Meaning you're mutaqasirun, meaning you're deficient.
Yep.
You're deficient. By the permission of Allah, you can continue, inshallah.
As for those who have followed their Telegram channel due to the recommending Salafi events Telegram channel, which was posted in Salafiyya Signopora, then we advise you to unfollow. See, they were calling away from the brother without any proof or evidence. Because it's just easier to say he's unclear. And the general public takes it because they're ignorant. The usl of the common person is that he's ignorant. I, Khaalid Uthmaan, may Allah preserve our scholars, say firstly, that from the affairs which are well established in our religion is that we do not take rulings from people who are unknown, nor from people of obscure individuals. Just as Muhammad ibn Sirin has said, indeed, this knowledge is religion. So look from whom you take your religion. Due to this, it is obligatory upon them to name for us those callers or students of knowledge so as to determine whether they are Salafi or not, and if they are people of knowledge concerning al-jahr, criticism, and ta'dil, praise, and if they are qualified to issue either praise or criticism on a particular person or group. Secondly, from the principles of this illustrious knowledge of jahr wa ta'dil, criticism and praise, is that the jahr is not accepted unless it is detailed. That the jahr is not accepted unless it is detailed.
I asked one question, brother. Who you know right now in this city, whether they're du'at or tulab or ilm, that is qualified to delve in the issues of jahr wa ta'dil?
Nobody. Not one soul.
You know anybody that's qualified?
No.
I ask you another question, Brother Isa. Who do you know from amongst the two eyes and the Tulab Ilm here in this city, right, that is qualified to issue a fatwa?
Nobody. Not one. Not me, not you, not anybody else. No one. We have refer our fears back to the ulama.
So if that's the case, right, then why do we find fatwas being passed by our beloved brothers saying do not come here, do not go there? Why do we find that? Huh? If that's the case, why do we find it?
Because, brother, people have agendas. People have agendas, Akhi, and the reality we have to understand is that, and we shouldn't sugarcoat it. The reality, some people, if you don't want rectification, you want to always have arguments and fitna amongst the people of Sunnah, then I'll be leery of you. Because the reality is that you only find the enemies of Allah. The enemies of Allah always want to keep the Muslims in confusion. And if you want to keep the Muslims always arguing and fighting amongst each other, you're an enemy of Islam, an enemy of the da'wah, this blessed da'wah. No matter who you are and where you are.
Brothers and sisters, this stuff is really serious. It's serious because we have to live here. We have our children residing here. We had a brother come from Egypt. I met him in Egypt. He's originally from Ghana. And this is a nice brother, real well-knowledge brother, well-respected brother. Memorizer of the Quran and so forth. When he came here to this city, he said, brother, where will my children go for school? Where will my children go at the school? He said, where will my children go? He seen that the people who are here to the dawah here are more split. And we know the kalam from the people of Ahlul Bidah, they use this as a way of making a taunting against the people of dawah. But we're not saying that. When he asked me that question, I really couldn't respond and give him a beneficial answer. So this brother now no longer live here. He resides himself what? In Indiana.
Indiana, yes.
He no longer live here. He lives in Indiana. He moved away from here. In a city that, you know, alhamdulillah, that do have a lot of people that are here outwardly to the Dawah Salafiyah. Outwardly to the Dawah Salafiyah. But likewise, what have we established, true established, if all we're going to do is bicker and fight? And bicker and fight. Don't take from this person. Wallahi, I ask you, I challenge any one of you to go around to any masajid, any of the masajids that are here and ascribe, outwardly ascribe to the Dawah Salafiyah, and tell me if they all not saying the same thing. Besides the personal stuff, besides saying Fulan and Alan, stay away from him. When they come out their mouths and read from the ahadith, and they read with that same simpler format, call Allah, call Rasulullah, call Fahmasah.
They all saying the same thing.
All saying the same thing.
When these issues come up, the Arab Spring came up, we all said the same thing. When the protests in America is going on, we all said the same thing. When Bid'ah show his head, we all refute it. So what's the problem? The problem is you have a people amongst us right now that's on a payroll other than the payroll of Allah in this message. And that's the reality.
And that's what you have to analyze. Is a person truly, and we as callers have to really be mindful of our intentions. Are we calling for Allah, or are we calling to ourselves? Shaykh Salih Fawzan, he mentioned a nice point. He said if you find a caller calling, right, and he doesn't have no one supporting him, he has no one coming to his classes, he has no one listening to him, and he gives up his call, he forsakes his call, he abandoned his call, then that's a proof to indicate that he wasn't calling to Allah, but he was calling to himself. That's the proof. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said what? There's going to come a time where what? On the day of judgment that a prophet going to come?
With nobody.
With nobody.
Nobody listened to him.
And he's a prophet.
But he still was successful in his call. He didn't fail. Because he gave the message. He gave them, and this is the proof against all those groups like the Ikhwan, the Muslim Brotherhood, say what? That the majority rules. Against democracy too. Democracy rules. Oh, they say the majority rules. No. The truth rules. It doesn't matter if nobody ever listens to you. As long as you keep on giving the truth and be sincere, then you'll be from those who are the muflihun.
No. Finish reading the Shaykh.
Therefore, it was obligatory upon those callers. This is the Shaykh Khaalid Uthmaan. May Allah preserve our scholars. Therefore, it was obligatory upon those callers or students of knowledge who advise not to work with our brothers. Those who say, leave those brothers alone. It's obligatory upon them to clarify with evidence their reasons for warning against cooperating with the brothers from the website Salafi events or anybody else for that matter. Where's your proof? You have to establish evidence. What's his bid'ah? What did he fall into? And where it's at.
Brother Isa, tell me right now, what does this do? I'll tell you what it do. I live here in Kensington. In Kensington, where it's a drug-infested neighborhood, where there are people out here right now, strung out. You're just giving them excuses not to study Islam. You're giving them excuses not to come to
That's
the masjid.
the goal, though,
You're
brother.
giving them excuses not to offer salat. You're giving them excuses to be shot out the way that they are. Why? Because all they see when they look around is it's another hip-hop beef. This student don't deal with this student. These group of people deal with these group of people. And this is all we seeing. It's pushing people away when you do that. All you do is calling them away from a person being shot out. Don't go here. All you have to do is come and take your knowledge from us. We tell you where you get this from. Where you get this from? There's no one here in Philadelphia that is even on a level of a scholar. Where did you get the point where you can sit and feel comfortable enough to say that you are clear, crystal clear, and everybody should come to you? I mean, Wadi in the law. You know, you have a surety from Allah Jalla wa Ala that Allah Jalla wa Ala made you clear. Honestly, I don't understand. Who you know is clear?
Brother,
are you clear with Allah Jalla wa Ala?
And now unless somebody got a conscience with Allah we don't know about, I don't know what I'm clear upon. I hope that we're clear. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us, if we're upon clarity, that we stay upon it. If we're not, make us from those who are upon clarity. Because we don't know, I think. We don't know. I'm not from the 10 people that was granted promised paradise.
Not at all.
I'm not from the messenger of the prophets. He says, however, regarding their statement, they are in need of rectifying their situation. We all know this statement. He has to rectify. He has to be clear. He has to rectify. We all know this is a famous statement of those who want to bring fitnah amongst the Muslims. This statement is a blanket statement that not substantiated by any evidence and has no merit from the aspects of criticism. We don't find scholars making blanket statements like this about somebody. When Muhammad Hassan in Egypt and Abu Ishaq al-Wahani, all these different people who fell into innovation in Egypt, we don't find Shaykh Sayyid al-Islam, Shaykh Mahmoud Luthi Amr, Shaykh Hassan al-Banna, Shaykh Khaalid Uthmaan, Shaykh Tal'a Zahran, and other than them from the scholars of Egypt, Shaykh Ridwani. We don't find them making blanket statements saying Muhammad Hassan has issues. We find clear statements with the proof, evidence, what he said, what he fell into, and the refutation of it, and with his name attached to it. The page number and everything.
And you know what? On top of that,
we don't find it
they
like that.
didn't do it so that they can gain more praise. They didn't do it so they can hold the flag banger up and say, you know what? We stump out bid'ah. They did it from the bab of nasiha, as Shaykh Fawzan mentioned. When refuting and refuting someone, it's from the bab of advising.
And they went to him.
They went to him.
And they houses, to their houses. I mean, Shaykh Mahmoud used to go and find Muhammad Ismail Muqaddam and talk to him personally. Try to go to the house of Muhammad Hassan.
Shaykh Rabi'a did the same thing.
Go to their house, advise
Take him inside. Hold him by the hand. And they ain't get this for no one but who? Ali ibn Abi Talib. You heard the famous narration that he took Kemal ibn Ziyad. What did he do? He took him out to the desert by his hand, set him down. Even though he went astray after this, we know he went astray sometime after, but still, he took him by his hand. Give him a cup of coffee. Aki, I really want to, let's get to the matter, to the issue of this.
But when you want your brothers to be upon bid'ah and you happy for that, you have a sickness in your heart, after. You have a sickness in your chest when you want your brothers to be upon falsehood.
No.
So whatever the case may be, Khaalid Uthmaan, the Shaykh, may Allah preserve him, testified that the website Salafi Events, not to be confused with Salafi Events in the UK, is a website which is Salafi, and the one who was responsible for the website, the brother Asif Shabir Abu Muawiyah, is from our virtuous Salafi brothers whom I know well. He accompanied me in my country of Egypt for about a year and a half. He, Asif, was keen in attending my lessons and the lessons of the father, Shaykh Hassan al-Banna. May Allah preserve him. He then moved to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to work in Riyadh, and whenever I go to Riyadh, he sticks close to me. I have not seen anything from him except having keenness upon the Salafi da'wah, as well as eagerness in connecting to his major scholars. Just as I have seen his activities in calling to Allah and organizing beneficial knowledge-based seminars. Look how this ta'dil is detailed, but the jar wasn't.
Not only that, though, this particular brother that the Sheikh is testifying for, we have brothers right now in our city. The same thing.
Yeah,
we had our brother Hisham. All he do is connect you with the people at Ulama. All he does is connect you with the people at Ulama. We have the brothers from Basiro.org.
No.
All they do is connect you with the Ulama. They don't even pick up a microphone and talk. But because personal gripes and personal beefs, it carries on. Don't deal with so-and-so. Don't accept this from so-and-so. Let me be straight up with you. I myself was named Nafis Abu Zayd. I give many reminders by the permission of Allah that I hope is accepted. I am not a student of knowledge. No, I have not studied for it. I learned one a long time period of time. I spent some time in Egypt by the permission of Allah. Allah Jalla wa Ala allowed me to do other things. I am in contact with two mashaykhs. One of them is the brother Isa teacher, who I contact on regular. Actually, he send me more benefits than I contact him. Also, Shaykh Abu Abdullah Masna'i. I contact him. He's doing the Latatul Usul with us. No. Also, he gave us the tariqah, the methodology in seeking knowledge. We also in contact with other well-known students here that that graduated, that benefit. Shaykh Otabi as well. And we try our best to read the books. However, we're not calling to ourselves. I haven't told anyone to come to Masjid Ibn Taymiyyah and take from Nafis. You would never see that. I would never call out and say, leave whatever vicinity you in and come to my classes only. I don't do that. Nor do I tell you to leave the classes of the other particular brothers. Never. Anyone that knows me, I never do that. But one thing I would tell you, if you're in this vicinity and you live in the close proximity of this particular masjid, then there's some benefit here for you if you want it. There's some benefit here. And if you live in the vicinity where you happen to be in Germantown and Sunan Nabawiyah, then there's benefit there. Then go there, because the local masjid have more right on you than the other masjids. As if that local masjid is upon something that clearly oppose that of the Quran and the Sunnah, then it's upon you, if you have the ability, to go out your way. The masjid that adheres to what? To the Quran and the Sunnah.
No. Go on with the statement of the Sheikh. He said, he is the one who has taken up broadcasting the weekly lessons conducted by a noble Sheikh Saleh Al-Luhaydan on his website. Hence, I ask these callers or students of knowledge who advise not to work with our brothers, have you at any given time observed at the website forums of Salafi events any announcements or advertisement for the people of bid'ah, innovation, calling to the innovation?
Oh, stop right there. And I ask you, brothers and sisters, anyone that comes down here, have you ever heard or witnessed at any time since this masjid been here for 5 or 6 years now, going to 6 years by the permission of Allah, anyone that's upon bid'ah, like the Sheikh just said, or call openly to his bid'ah, and send the minbar, even give a class here? I ask you to produce your proof, not statements of fulan and alan. I want you to tell me clearly that anyone from bid'ah, like the Sheikh just said, who openly calls to bid'ah, ever stepped foot in this masjid. Produce that proof for me.
And I give you another. Have you ever seen our stuff is recorded on the Mektaba webpage, Facebook page? Any class will be called to bid'ah or the people of bid'ah. When the books come in, we call scholars with names we don't know. We call overseas and say, who's this person? The scholars tell us what books to get rid of and what books to keep. The website is present. Bring forth to us the places that are in need of being corrected so we can advise our brothers to correct them. Okay, tell us what's wrong. Then come on down. Tell us what's wrong. If something's wrong, come advise us. We advise you to come, and we tell you to come down. If you think that we have issues or some problems you think we need correcting in, come advise us and give us, and come benefit. The door's open for you to come give classes. The door's open to everybody in the city.
Don't get on Twitter. Don't get on Twitter. Don't get on Twitter. Don't do that. Don't get on Twitter and try to make it seem as if these people are upon something else because they retweet something that they might have no knowledge of that particular person, what they liked to quote. Was the quote from the person? Was it actually from the person? And did that person have knowledge of that person when they made the quote? Don't do that. Be honest. Be honest, because we have some people, and may Allah Jalla wa Ala, forgive us of our mistakes, who clearly made mistakes out in the open, who clearly threatened people and swore by Allah that they would go in somebody's mouth. Swore by Allah they would do these things to people. Yet and still, as us being fellow Muslims to one another, we still try to cover that, even though it was done openly. We still try to cover over that and try to make excuses for that, even though it was done openly and it was unexcusable as a student of knowledge to ever act in such a manner.
You ever see on our webpage spreading anything about anybody, anything evil we heard about people, fornicating or doing this with women and all that? Have you seen any of that on our Facebook page or else said it out of our mouth about the individual? We don't spread that foolishness, and we never will.
Alhamdulillah.
As for the brothers who are responsible for these websites committing mistakes, this is something which happens, and no one is exempt of it. However, anytime your Salafi brother errs You warn from him and prevent yourself and others from him, cooperating with him, and thus apply upon him the rulings of boycotting, which are not applied except to an argumentative innovator or an open sinner. Then no Rabbani scholar or caller to guidance is pleased with this type of methodology.
Tell me, Abu Isa, if the masjid wasn't here, where the people would go?
Nowhere. They would go to, they probably would go to down here.
There are drug blocks right there. Where they would go at? The masjid is not here.
Or they would go to a masjid that's not calling to the sunnah. There's a couple of them in the area. But they would go somewhere and be somewhere where people may be calling to tabligh. People may call it to ikhwaniyya.
How you in South Philly? Tell me, how you in South Philly, right? You're down in South Philly telling people that live in Kensington, don't go to Kensington Masjid. They got issues. They Salafis, but they got issues. How? Now, what if that person don't have car fare to get to you? Because I'm going to tell you, me personally, I lived on 6th and Jefferson for 6 years. I lived in the close vicinity, 3 blocks away from Aqsa Masjid. No, I did not attend Aqsa Masjid for classes, but guess what? I went there to pray faithfully. Why? Because that was my local masjid. I had one brother ask me, bro, you just get off a plane? Where did you go at? I said, what you mean? I said, I ain't get off no plane, I ain't go nowhere. He said, brother, I've been to all the Salafi masajids, I ain't see you at one of them. I said, okay, I live close to Aqsa. I'm supposed to be at every masjid?
And how you know? You have 5 of them at each prayer all at once?
You can't. We have to stop this stuff. Honestly, we have to realize that the houses of Allah Jalla wa Ala is there to be what? To worship. And that if it's a local masjid that don't have a grave in it or anything in there that prevents you from praying behind that particular person, because this is the creed of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that it's permissible to pray behind an innovator. If it was a true innovator, calling to his innovation, like the Shaykh has mentioned, he calls outwardly to his innovation. I ask you right now, what masjid you know is a masjid of innovation? Clearly, there's one I know of, and that's 45th Walnut, Habashis. It's clear.
You can't pray there.
The ulama have explained their issues.
Glenwood,
right? Or the one that's not even a masjid.
Yeah, it's not even a masjid.
Right? So these people are clear. Show me a masjid other than that. Oh yes, they have ikhwanis in there. Yes, we're not saying that. Yes, they have certain tendencies or they do certain acts of bid'ah. We're not saying that. Is it permissible for you to pray in there or not?
That's the question.
That's the question. And if it is permissible for you to pray in there, do you live close to there or do you live close to somewhere else? Right? Are you going there just to pray or are you going there for classes? All of this stuff had to come up. All of this stuff had to make sense. We cannot let somebody tell us that our local masjid, we cannot go there to our local masjid. We cannot go to our local, don't go down there to Masjid Ibn Taymiyyah. Don't go around there to the Maktab of Ibn Taymiyyah, a free public Islamic library. Don't go there. Why don't go there? Because they Salafis, but they have issues.
Just one of them even said, close the masjid. Close the place of Tawheed. In a neighborhood that's upon darkness. Probably the worst neighborhood that's in the city, but close the only place that's calling it Tawheed.
And you know what Shaykh Rabi'a said to that? Because Shaykh Rabi'a was asked the question about this particular masjid when it was named Masjid Toba. The Shaykh was asked about, should we close the masjid? He said, La abadan. You know what Shaykh Abdullah Al-Majid said? When I asked him personally on a telelink here, should we close the masjid? La. Okay, how you gonna close the masjid, a beacon of Tawheed in the land of Kufr? What sense is that? We got to be careful what we call into. Because when you say that a person has issues, are you saying inwardly or indirectly that you don't have no issues whatsoever? That you ma'asum? Because the only one that's ma'asum is Allah Jalla wa Ala and His Messenger. And His Messenger is ma'asum, as Shaykh Islam said, from the bab of conveying the message. Right?
Nah.
So you mean to tell me you have no issues? And that the issues only you can analyze them. You got to be careful with that stuff. Are you calling to Allah or calling to yourself? What do you mean, don't go down there to that masjid? What? And you have not yet to define what it was.
No, we haven't yet.
Who do we have here?
And you're applying boycotting, like the Sheikh brought, it's only applied to 2 types of people. An argumentative innovator, somebody who's clearly calling to his innovation, trying to destroy the sunnah, and it's an open sinner. And this is only after they've been advised. After they've been advised and they still keep on that path, then the issue of boycotting comes in if it benefits them. If it's going to call them back. But what if the boycotting causes them to go farther astray? The question is now, is boycotting beneficial in that scenario? So he goes in and he says, our Shaykh Alama, Shaykh Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali Hafizullah, stated in his second advice, and just before to finish that, if you want to know a book of manhaj that will clarify a lot of these issues, as Sheikh Mahmoud Lutfi Amr, my teacher in Egypt, said, is Manhaj al-Anbiya by Shaykh Rabi'. If you read anybody who reads that book, you own a sunnah, and you call yourself Salafi, I advise you to pick up that book and you'll learn your manhaj.
The methodology of the prophets is actually translated into English.
If you want to know your manhaj and you want to be able to use it in real lifetime, then go get the book. He said, stated in his second advice to Falah al-Harbi, as appears in Al-Majmu' al-Wadih al-Fi Radd al-Manhaj wa Usul al-Falih, he says, Shaykh Rabi' Hadi says, verily, you all have been asked about specific individuals, well known for their Salafiyah, and their calling to it, and amongst them are scholars in the eyes of the people. Therefore, you have taken them outside of Salafiyah. This expulsion of them from Salafiyah, this is the statements of Shaykh Rabi', is a severe criticism against them, which requires evidence. If you don't come with evidence and the causes for this criticism, then the people will see that you have oppressed them, transgressed upon them, attacked their religion without justification. You then will stand accused amongst the people. Therefore, you are in need of freeing your religion and honor. So if you do not do that, then the people will attack you. Not you, nor other than you, will be pleased with this attack. Strife will begin. Differing between the Salafis will occur. Exchange of attacks will increase. And this will not end except by mentioning convincing reasons for this expulsion from Salafiyah. No doubt, while you yourself would demand a reason if you were criticized or ousted from Salafiyah. This is the end of the Shaykh's statement. SubhanAllah.
Wallahi, may Allah have mercy upon our brother Abu Maryam Adu'anim, who one of the first brothers, when I first met him back in, that was in 04, by the permission of Allah. He was across the street from Sunnah Nabawiyah.
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
I mean,
05 and 06, he was across the street. He had the Maktab. He used to call people to the tapes and the lessons and the duru's of the ulama. And now I see the benefit of that. He wouldn't call to the du'ats. He would call us to return back to listening to the scholars and the scholars only. Because when we just start listening to just the du'ats, what happened now? We are people that are qawmiyah naturally. We are people like that. We strive ourselves and we get real energetic by personalities and people. And this is what we do. This is natural. So what happened is we start bigging up one another. Oh, that's my man. I'm telling you, he studied nice. Let's be realistic. And what happened is we gather around this particular person. And then we gather around that particular person. And we don't bring no type of rectification between them. All we do is say that this person here and that person here, he has more knowledge than him. We should take from him. And then that person outs that person out. You have to be careful. Shaykh ibn al-Qayyim, he said that you will not find two people who share the same profession, except that jealousy will occur between them. Also, Shaykh Uthmaan, in his book called Kitab al-Ilm, for those who want to seek knowledge, he mentioned about 14 to 15 points on jealousy that even has to extend and expand amongst amongst the scholars. It reached the level amongst the scholars. What is my point in all this? My point in all this, if you look right now, most of the people that we have, by the permission of Allah Ta'ala, that's in the arena of dawah, here in this city, and in the tri-state, a lot of those particular brothers have not academically excelled. I'm the furthest on the list. I'm not even including myself in it because I'm not a part of it. They have not academically excelled. Have not finished one fin. Have only got to the level of the Latatul Usul like you and I. Had only just translate, know some Arabic by the mission of Allah and contact the mashaykhs.
That's it.
We contact the mashaykhs. Do they give me right to say now, come to me and take your knowledge from me? La. Do they give any person right? There are people, there are levels. There are levels. Shaykh Muhammad ibn Hadi made the same point. How do you ascertain knowledge, he was asked. And the scholars way before him, Shaykh Uthmaan made this point. Many scholars way before them, the older scholars made this point. How do you ascertain knowledge? Do you exhaust all the information that's in your area? Who do you take knowledge from? Who is evaluated this and that? First and foremost, you take knowledge from the ulama. Knowledge is talaqi min what? At the foot of the ulama. That's first and foremost. So if you have a caller in your city that learned directly, mubasharatan, directly from the ulama, who has excelled academically with the ulama, who has evaluated that particular person's knowledge, then he has more right that you benefit from him first. He has more right. Then if you don't have a person like that in your city that have that type of qualification, then you're going to look one lesser than him. The person who has a well understanding of the Arabic language, that contacts the ulama on different issues.
But we have a scholar in America now.
That read, before we get to that, that reads, before we get to the Shaykh, alhamdulillah, the doctor, the Dr. Abdurrahman Umaysan, before we get to that reads Arabic. Then what do? You take your benefits from that individual while he read the books. If it goes from there, and you can't take it from that particular person. He's not existing. Then you go, if you have the ability to listen to the ulama yourself, meaning you can listen to their tapes or their audios because they record it, then you listen to it. And if you can't do that, then you suffice yourself with reading the books. No. And if you can't read Arabic, read English.
There's plenty of
this stuff has been laid out. Sheikh Muhammad Hadi made the same point. And the problem is nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. Wallahi, I wanted to do a series of clips on this of different mashayikh saying the same point about ending this beef, ending this stuff that's going on, and saying the same points over and over, and there's nobody listening.
No.
Why? Because everybody calling to themselves.
No.
Everybody calling to themselves. They come to my masjid. Don't go to that masjid. We're going to tell you who to take from and who not.
And it's a clear agenda to keep us divided and arguing with each other. And you look back at the agenda, you'll find disbelievers behind it, and people of bid'ah behind it, keeping the people of sunnah divided and arguing with one another. And it says, if these callers who have advised you to not work with him nor follow his beneficial broadcast, say, but Asif is not from the well-known callers, and we have not expelled him from Salafi. I, Khaalid Uthmaan, say, nonetheless, he is well known to us, and other than us for his Salafiyah. His websites and forums are well known for calling to the methodology of the Salaf. And your warning against cooperating with him is a severe punishment, similar to expelling him from Salafiyah in an implicit manner. This is what they do. He's not clear. If this had occurred to one of you, you with no doubt would become angry, and if someone did this to you, and ask one another, why are they warning against cooperating with us? If somebody did this to these guys, they would be so upset. They wouldn't accept it. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, transmitted a narration on the authority of Anas ibn Malik, radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, none of you truly believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. As a form of being explicit and frank and enforcing the truth, and declaring falsehood, I say there seems to be a Dawah group in Britain and North America which thinks that the Salafi Dawah is something they have monopoly over, and that it is mandatory that anyone desiring to conduct any affairs of Dawah, like organizing lectures with the people of knowledge and bringing some of them to participate in knowledge-based seminars, must do so by way of them. And if another organized body for giving dawah who are Salafi, just like them, want to undertake any effort in giving dawah, no matter how great, then they despise it, belittle it, and they treat the group people with disrespect, calling for their actions to be required with rectification.
And if I want to make it in layman terms for you, is when a person say to you, have the brothers sanction that move? Did you check in with Germantown? Did they ask them first before they open up that library? Did they ask them brothers first before they open up the masjid? This is what the Sheikh's saying. Have you checked in with these particular... Checked in with who? I'm trying to figure out who. Sorry I'm being emotional, but tell me who.
Check in with who?
Check in with who? You got to call a scholar, open up a masjid?
SubhanAllah.
Ain't a dalil. You got to call a scholar, open up a free library? Ain't a dalil. We informed Sheikh Mahmoud about the library. What did he say?
He was so happy to hear when he's sending us books.
He sent us books.
Sheikh Abdullah Mesna'i was so happy to make dua for us.
This is the response you get. People are happy that Tawheed is being taught. And no matter how minute level it is, they are happy. They're not going to make statements, yeah, don't go down there with the brothers. They Salafis. Okay, brother, you say they Salafi, but what? What do you mean? Oh, they don't do how you do it. Oh, they're in agreement with everything you do. Do they got a right to disagree with you? Can they disagree with you?
Not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I have the right to disagree with everybody on earth except for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And then 9 times out of 10, are they really disagreeing with you? Because in 9 times out of 10, a lot of times, they really not disagreeing with you.
No.
They call into the same thing you call it. They come to your lectures. They come to your Eids. They come to these things, and they cooperate with you. They send their people that come there that cooperate you. That's crazy. How can you warn from a place that's calling to Allah Jalla wa Ala? Tawheed, at the very least, even if we wasn't opening our mouths teaching anything, the fact that it's open for Salat 5 times a day, the fact that the Adhan is called, that's Tawheed. The Kalimat of Tawheed is being called 5 times a day. The fact that that's going on, how can you call against that? I'm lost. And this is what the Shaykh is saying. We know what the Shaykh is talking about. A special group that's in North Britain and especially that's in North America, that's in Britain. We know exactly. We're not going to sugarcoat it because I'm on social media. Yes, I get grind up. You can grind me up all day. Yes, I'm on social media. But guess what? Social media keep me in tune on what's really going on. And 9 times out of 10, majority of our talks in our households, amongst our friends, amongst our closest relatives, amongst Muslims, one another, we're talking about this stuff. We're talking about this stuff, and it's sad. That's what we're talking about. Yo, what is this? Why the Salafis are not together? Why so-and-so can't take? But we ain't doing nothing about it. We're adding fuel on the fire. Adding fuel on the fire is when you sit there and post up a pic of 4 masajids, pictures of certain masajids, and you keep posting up the pic. Like, yeah, this is the only place to go to. What are you, on his beard? The masjid. The Prophet ﷺ said that the whole earth has been made a masjid for me and my followers. Has been made a masjid. Meaning if you ain't in no vicinity of a masjid, you can pray right there at that spot. As long as it what? And fulfill those conditions.
And it's not a
clean.
bathroom and it's not a grave.
There you go. This is the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. What happened to these principles? What happened to that? Shaykh Rabi'a was asked, yeah, Shaykh, if the Adhan is called and a masjid that's openly opposed Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, can we pray in that particular masjid? What was his response?
Yeah, you can pray there. As long as the
answer the Adhan. How can he go with the Prophet ﷺ said?
Answer the Adhan.
Answer the Adhan.
Not unless there's a grave in there.
And last but not least, this issue about people having mistakes. All of us, brothers and sisters, we have mistakes. Shaykh Fallah, when I met him personally in the hotel, and I asked, can I translate one of his books? And he mentioned to me no, because it was in audio form. I learned the lesson from this. I was kind of disheartened when he said it, but I learned the lesson. He said because that audio form need to be checked. Because every time your person opens his mouth, he's prone to make more errors. So what I understood from that is that we humans, we're going to make mistakes. All of us going to make mistakes. Just like Imam Malik pointed when he was by the grave of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina. He said every person's statement can be accepted or rejected except who? Illa hada sahib what? Illa sahib hada qabr. Except the person of this grave. Except the person of this grave, meaning the Prophet ﷺ. Also, Imam Shafi made the statement. What was his statement? His statement that Allah Jalla wa Ala refused to make any book perfected except the book of Allah. All of this needs to be understood. So when you say a person has mistakes, we all have mistakes. If there are mistakes in creed, then no doubt that's serious. If you qualify to spot out those mistakes, are you qualified to engage the person on those mistakes? Or are you qualified to even deal with those mistakes? And if the answer is no, then you need to refer back to someone who that is before you even open your mouth. It should never be out your mouth, I'm going to advise the brothers not to sit with him.
You know the other scary part is that something real simple. We're all Muslims first and foremost, right? If somebody comes to you and say anything about me, him, or anybody else for that matter, my rights as a Muslim is not the same as the one who just told you that. Y'all don't have the right to come to me now and say someone so-and-so said this about you and bring us all together so we can clarify the whole issue. Or someone can just slander me and talk about me and you just take it as if that person's statement is revelation. It's why. You got to really think about it.
We're living in the times where they say don't take from Shaykh Wasil al-Abbas. They say don't take from Salih Suhaimi. They're actually literally telling you do not take from these particular scholars. These are major scholars. If you contact Shaykh Rabi'a right now on the phone, what is he going to do? He's going to praise these particular scholars. And the reason why I keep mentioning Shaykh Rabi'a because this is what we know in the West. There are more scholars. Shaykh Muhsin, his teacher's alive, who is greater than him, who's more knowledgeable than him. There are more scholars that are more knowledgeable than Shaykh Rabi'a. But we're going to keep mentioning Shaykh Rabi'a because this is what we know. This is what's been pushed in front of us. And no doubt that's our elder. And we take from him. They spread a rumor about me that I speak ill of the Shaykh. I never speak ill of the Shaykh by the mission of Allah. That's my father and my elder. However, like I said, there are other mashaykhs. It's his teachers that are alive that we can take from. But yet and still, we got to be mindful, brothers and sisters, not to oust one another based upon mistakes. I'm going to leave this last thing before I give it to Abu Isa. Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen rahmatullah ta'ala is on YouTube. Anybody can type this up. He was asked about Shaykh Muhammad ibn Jibreen. Right? Rahmatullah ta'ala alayhi. Shaykh Muhammad Jibreen, if you know about him, he made what?
The error. But dealing with
Shaykh Jibreen,
things
right?
like that, yeah.
He made errors. Grave errors, no doubt. They asked the Shaykh, they said, Shaykh Uthaymeen, can we say Rahimullah behind his name? Because he made these errors, can we say may Allah have mercy upon him? Can we say these type of things like that? The Shaykh said, no, you can say that. He's Muslim. Shaykh al-Albani went far behind Sayyid Qutb. And we know Sayyid Qutb made major errors. But when Sayyid Qutb used to be mentioned, Shaykh al-Albani would say Rahimahullah.
No.
He's still Muslim. SubhanAllah.
He said this is simply because they do not act by the way of them or checking with them first. So meaning they saying you have to check with them first. I heard many times brothers say, oh, well, you know, the brother Abu Isa didn't come and check in. He didn't come and come up here first. The Sheikh knows what's going on. The scholars know what's going on, so we need to be patient. The scholars see what's happening. This is an enormous calamity, and that these callers are in need of taking a moment of reflection with themselves, being strictly sincere and such for the sake of Allah, for the meaning of what Allah has said. Whoever is saved from his own stinginess or covetousness, they are successful ones. More treacherous than that, and this is from what we distance our brothers from the well-known Salafi callers in Britain and North America, is that some of these groups of dawah, or some of these callers, are from those who have cunningly and deceitfully hidden themselves behind some of the scholars.
Allah.
Just as our Shaykh Rabi' said, he said, with their hatred for them, meaning the scholars of the Sunnah, and their opposition of them and their foundations, methodology, and positions, is just like what the Rafidah do when they hide behind the family of the Prophet ﷺ, whilst they oppose them in their methodology and foundations and their hatred for the majority of them. Why do they do this? They hide behind the scholars with names of scholars. They come to us. They come and say, Sheikh so-and-so and Sheikh so-and-so, Sheikh so-and-so, two or three scholars, and they hide behind them. And they go give loaded questions to them too, in order that they unite themselves to be to able to dump anyone who wages a war against them from the people of the Sunnah, and to establish themselves in being able to attack them, tarnish their reputations, tarnishing their foundations, so they achieve their goals in eliminating the Salafi manhaj and making them attack one another.
SubhanAllah.
SubhanAllah. I say, Khaalid Uthmaan, our scholar in Egypt, may Allah preserve him, that America and Britain are in need of the efforts of hundreds, rather thousands of scholars and Salafi cause to teach Tawheed, the Sunnah, and the Salafi methodology amongst those societies which are filled with people of disbelieving religions and misguided cause. Consequently, if we find someone who has efforts in dawah, even if we're small, then it's obligatory upon us to aid and support him. Moreover, if we find weakness in him, then we strengthen and provide treatment to him, and we do not fail, forsake nor despise him. Imam Muslim has reported in the hadith number 2564 from the narration of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not be envious of one another, do not artificially raise prices against one another, do not hate one another, do not turn one's back on each other, and do not undercut one another in business transactions. Oh, be servants of Allah, brethren. A Muslim is the brother of a Muslim. He does not wrong him. He does not fail him when he needs him. He does not lie to him. Moreover, he does not show contempt for him. Piety is here. And he pointed to the chest 3 times that this is where taqwa is. This is where fear of Allah is. It is enough of evil for a person to hold his brother Muslim in contempt. All of a Muslim is inviolable to another haram, or forbidden to another Muslim, his blood, his wealth, and his honor.
SubhanAllah. So that don't mean we go read Sharh Sunnah now, and we use Sharh Sunnah against our brothers that openly adhere to and openly ascribe themselves to Salafiyyah. We'll read a narration or athar, instead of applying it to the true people of bid'ah, we'll turn right around and use that narration against one another.
SubhanAllah.
That don't mean to use Usul Sunnah against people who use the same particular book who adhere to that.
Say when you see an innovator come down the street, cross the street, then you apply it to somebody of the Sunnah. So you see a brother coming down the street, you cross the street because you don't want to give him the salams, as if he's somebody from the people of innovation.
And you don't even know what innovation is.
No.
They asked Shaykh Salih Fawzan. This stuff is on YouTube. They asked Shaykh Salih Fawzan about a loaded question about bid'ah. The Shaykh snapped. Shaykh said, first of all, what is bid'ah? And are you from the people to even delve into these issues? Because the point is, this stuff is a plot. As Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab al-Wasabi, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, may Allah make his grave spacious.
Ameen.
He said that this is a plot from the shaitan. It's a plot to keep us busy and keep the students busy with this affair of Jahr wa Ta'dil. To keep us affair with refuting one another and pitting one another off of it. Like the Sheikh said, we need hundreds of thousands of callers. We need everyone to call. We in the land of kuffar. Predominantly they are kuffars. We are in the land of kuffar, the land of disbelievers. Predominantly it's shirk. It's kufr, it's bid'ah here. How can a small group of brothers can be the only ones to tackle this problem? How? How can a small group of brothers be the only one? How can the head or the hub, let's go up to Germantown, did you check in with the brothers? Brother came back from Yemen for 10 years. They asked the brother, you got to go check in with them first before you can talk. Before you can give a talk, you got to check in.
Well, you have brothers saying that you only can take knowledge from us. They say only come here to take knowledge. What type of statements?
Or he's not grounded in Arabic. First of all, tell me what Arabic grammarian you know here. I'll wait.
I don't know any.
I don't know none. But there are brothers who did excel in Arabic here, and may Allah reward them. And they are teaching to their efforts. So ask Allah Jalla wa'ala to bless everybody, like the Sheikh is saying. Every person that's given dawah according to their level, we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to bless those particular brothers. And we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to bring our hearts together upon true Salafiyah, and upon the true understanding of what Salafiyah is, and not divide it, and not argue, and not bicker, and not call away from one another, and not fall into that of the plots of the shaitan, nor of the government, nor of the kuffar, nor of the Jews, nor of the Britons, nor of any of these individuals that come here and tell us that I don't understand that. How can you take from someone you don't know over someone you do know? How can you allow someone who's an outsider, who's not even your countryman, like come here and tell you who you can deal with and who you cannot deal with, and you got people you know that's strictly from your place and from your people and from your town, and you know them. You know them. You can check the history.
A lot of us grew up together in the same neighborhoods.
Don't take from that person. How? Brother, I don't know you, I know him. What happened to the Athar then? You want to use Athars? What about the Athar? If I see my brother saying that I'm the Lord the Most High, I will make 70 excuses for him. If I see my brother making a statement of kufr, what did the Salaf say? If I see my brother making a statement of kufr, I'm going to make 70 excuses for him. Mm-hmm. What happened to that? I go right out the door, right?
And he brings the ayah and the sword of the Torah. He said, those who defame such of the believers who give charity voluntarily, and such who could not find to give charity in Allah's cause, except what is available to them. So they mock at them. Allah will throw back their mockery on them, and they shall have a painful torment. Make a mockery of the believers, slandering them. Imam al-Bukhari, Imam Muslim have reported on the authority of Abu Mas'ud, who said that about this verse, when we were commanded to give the sadaqah, we were laborers. Abu Aqil came with half a sa'ah of dates, and another man, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, brought more than that. The hypocrites exclaimed, surely Allah is in no need of this charity, and this second one has not done it but to show off. This verse, those who defame such of the believers who give charity in Allah's cause voluntarily, and such who could not find to give charity in Allah's cause except what is available to them, it is not permissible for the manners of the hypocrites to infiltrate amid the Salafis without them perceiving it, because of the seduction of shaitan and his incitement to evil. Allah, meaning of his statement in the Quran, O you who believe, enter perfectly Islam, and follow not the footsteps of shaitan. Verily he is to you a plain enemy. And I advise all my brothers to act upon the advice of our Shaykh Alama Rabi' ibn Hadi, Shaykh Rabi', the encouragement of love and harmony, and warning from splitting and differing, where he said, may Allah preserve our Shaykh, brotherhood between all the people of the Sunnah. The Salafis are in need of disseminating the spirit of love and brotherhood amongst themselves, achieve that which the Messenger ﷺ informed us of. The believers are like a building. They strengthen one another. The believers are like one body. If one part of the body complains, then the rest of the body reacts with sleepiness and fever. Be like this, O brothers. Stay away from those elements which cause splitting, because I swear by Allah, they are dangerous, evil, and deadly disease. So stay away from the causes which lead to grudges, hatred, splitting, and mutual rivalry. Stay away from these things which have become dominant these days by the hands of the people whom Allah knows their true condition. Allah knows the condition of you people. Allah knows that you're causing fitnah amongst Ahlul Sunnah. Allah knows that you're causing evil and rancor and evil and fighting amongst the people on purpose, with the help of those who disbelieve and those who are bid'ah, who are behind you. Allah knows it. He's going to expose you. Just wait.
Just wait. Inshallah ta'ala, brothers and sisters, just want to remind you in closing, inshallah, that the words of the Shaykh, alhamdulillah, is available, is on the internet. Many of you might already have read it before. You can refer back to that talk and that title, dealing with the Salafi events. Also, as well, there are many other mashaykhs, statements of other mashaykhs, and Shaykh Hassan al-Banna praised this advice that Shaykh Uthmaan have gave. I just want to advise us, in order to stop this stuff, so that our children can be raised up correctly, and that we can literally have schools. Do anyone stop and ask yourself, where's our school? We have a lot of du'ats and students. And it's a challenge to myself and to all the du'ats. And I want to keep doing this until I go in the grave. All of you come back. Where's our schools? What do we have established? No. Why we can't raise ourselves up and elevate ourselves to a higher level? Here, if you go to Indonesia, they have a school there. If you go to Pakistan, they have a school there. If you go anywhere from amongst the nationality, Africa, as our brother Ghana, our brother Noor from Ghana was talking about earlier. He studied at a place called Medina, the University of Medina in Ghana, before he went to Egypt.
What about the school of Tarbiyat al-Ilm? It was a Salafi school. Abdurrahman Afriki worked there. Tawfiq was there. Okay, I taught there. So people were there. The brother Dawood and his wife, they run the school.
No.
And it was called Tarbiyat Ilm. Nobody came to support it. In fact, people were trying to refute it undercutly and try to get rid of the school and talk bad about it. It was the only school our kids would go to that the Aqidah was correct, the manhaj was correct. They didn't have to go to Aqsa. They didn't have to go to public schools. They were a school where all the teachers that were there were upon the manhaj.
Alhamdulillah. And not just that, the school I'm talking about more so is an Islamic school like Qura. I'm talking about building students. And what he's talking about, we need that. And our brothers in Germantown and our brothers in Tarbiyat Ilm, they have schools, those two schools available. Our brothers down there, Ahl Hadith is doing good with opening up a little weekend school. Our brothers down there in Bin Baz, there's a brother on Elmwood Avenue that is doing good. So those schools are working. We're trying to get them in place for the kids. But the schools I'm talking about is the ones where as though you can really learn Islam and you can really teach. You can put people in other positions to be on minbars and talk. And you wouldn't have no one da'if, such as myself, being in front of you. You know, everyone used that argument. Nafis, he haven't studied nowhere. Who is his teacher? Okay, I'll tell you. Won't you beat me to the punch, elevate, and come and teach? Put people in that place so they can do that. If not, you don't have nothing for the flag that you keep, the flag you keep passing on. Someone else is going to take up that flag, and it's going to wind up as going to be someone like me who want to do good and wants something better for the people, inshallah. And if anybody else out here want better, so the door is open for all of our brothers.
Come advise us if you think
exactly. The door is open for all of our brothers. We'll say this like we said on Twitter. All of our brothers are welcome to come down here at Masjid Ibn Taymiyyah. We do not hold anything against any of the particular brothers to come down. But last but not least, we're not going to tolerate partisanship. Hizbiyah. We're not going to tolerate backbiting one of our brothers or any of our brothers, nor against you or against others. We're not going to take the fact of writing bayans. This is not from the Sunnah. We're not going to write bayans. The Shaykh Khaalid Uthmaan mentioned is actually from the acts of Sufiya. We're not going to take from the fact of, we're not going to cooperate upon sin. We're not going to cooperate upon saying this person is upon bid'ah because he don't support our masjid. He don't go to our masjid, or he's not from here. We're not going to do that. But what we is going to cooperate upon is that which is good. So if you want to come down here with that which is good and open up a book and crack it open and let's get into it, start teaching hadith, mustalah, you want to start teaching science, Arabic, whatever you're good at, Quran, tajweed, whatever, come down and help.
Come down and help.
And actually come occupy the library.
Whether it's our brothers from Bin Baz, whether it's our brothers from Sunnah Nabawi, whether it's our brother Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, whether it's from Masjid Fajr, the door is open. If you have mukbil, if you have any ability, you can teach and call to the sunnah. The door is open. Come down, say what you want to teach. You won't have any argument from us, any whatsoever. The only people that can't come down here is the people that's gonna come with innovation and bid'ah. That's it.
No. Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward our brother Abu Isa for reading, alhamdulillah, and also sharing some of the benefits that he got from his teachers and going over this issue for us. And may Allah Jalla wa ala at least forgive me, because I'm a poor slave and the most weakest, inshallah. And the maktab is open, alhamdulillah, 7 days a week by the mission of Allah. And it got free Wi-Fi, got coffee and stuff like that. We do need you to donate your time. We need you to donate your bodies. We need you to donate your books. We need you to aid one another and support all the libraries that are trying to come up, the masjid libraries, any library that's going up. We want you to also keep in mind Shaykh Abdul Rahman Umaysan. He is available. He is in the city. And we also want to remind that there is another particular brother who is very beneficial that is here. And I'm not shy to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. His channel is Hadith Disciple. And he got a lot of benefits on there. For those who want to study hadith and stuff like that, you can benefit from that channel. Muhammad Ibn Munir. I'm not going to say that I'm upon bid'ah because, yes, I say that the brother channel is very beneficial. Go on there and listen to it for yourself. Before anyone tell you something. One particular brother told me to stay away from the particular brother, and I asked him, is any scholar said anything against the brother? And that particular brother told me no scholar said nothing against him except that the kalam that was mentioned at Masharam. I said, brother, did any scholars give us clear evidence that say don't take from him? He said no. I said, well then, brother, until that happened, I'm going to still benefit and tell people to benefit because the channel was there, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair, subhanakallah wa bihamdi. Ashhadu an astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallah khair.